going on, guys? Welcome back to the after credit scene. We are talking all things episode 5 and 6 of Daredevil Born Again. Got a whole lot of stuff to get into and a whole lot of breakdowns to run through, but before we do that, please like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so when we drop new content, you'll be the first one to know about it, and then share this video all across the multiverse. So episode 5 was definitely a kind of a standalone, had a standalone feel to it. We're going to kind of talk about these together, but we're going to run through the storyline chronologically, because I think a lot of things that happen in 5 really connect with the things that happen in 6, and why I think that episode, not only for future world building, but for the mindset of Daredevil and what happens with Kingpin, really makes a lot of sense. So let's dive right into it. First things first, Matt is going about trying to find funding for their law firm. He's going to different banks. Those things were set up in episodes 3 and 4. I think we got 2 episodes, not only because we had a kind of a standalone in episode 5, but because these were shorter episodes as well, and they're leading towards something bigger. And so not only that, but couple in the fact that timeline-wise, if you stretch these out into single episodes per week, you get an episode that the whole finale finishes less than a week before Thunderbolts comes out. And so I think they were trying to push everything together. I think it was a smart move to stick them together. And you got a whole lot of content all at one time, a lot of things to talk about, and it really moves you forward into 7, 8, and 9 as we finish up the season. So as Matt goes to these banks, we see that he ends up meeting with Yusuf Khan, which is Kamala Khan's dad from the Ms. Marvel show. Like I said in some of our prediction videos, you're going to get some reminders that this is firmly set in the MCU, but you're not really going to get as many weird Easter eggs in terms of like, oh, this came from this and that came from that, and did you know this painting came from this era and whatever. I think those things are great, and those things are put there to add depth to the characters in the story that's being told, but not so much so that we're parsing little bitty bits of data to go, well, that came from this comic, and that came from this comic, and here's this story run, and here's that story run. I really think there's enough meat with these characters, depth-wise, that they're going to pull from the comics, obviously, but they're really making their own thing here, and they can do that with Daredevil and his universe and his version of New York and all these different people that fit into it. Really kind of make its own story. And so I think Daredevil fits firmly in that regard without having to say, well, we're going to adapt this storyline and try to mesh it with Ms. Marvel and try to do this. I think you're going to find out that Matt Murdock and Daredevil are kind of the street level glue that's going to hold the MCU together, similar to the way that Iron Man kind of crossed through anything and everything, and Stark Industries and the announcement of who Iron Man was, all those kind of things. So as Matt is trying to plead his case for a loan, you get some conversations between him and Yusuf about his daughter. You get some hints as to where she is. She's probably says she's out in California. She's visiting Bruno, who went to Caltech, but these are also hints that Young Avengers are coming. Kamala is, like we saw at the end of Hawkeye, she's looking for people. She's trying to find, and we saw it at the end of the Ms. Marvel, the Marvels movie, that she is going out and recruiting people, similar to the way Nick Fury did, trying to find people to help out and bring in and that kind of thing. And so she's probably out in California trying to find Cassie Lang in San Francisco, and so there's some storyline to be had there as well. But as Matt is pleading his case here, these robbers come in. We find out pretty quickly that they have ulterior motives. Now, at first I thought there was some kind of reason for the red, blue, green, yellow, purple masks beyond just an opportunity to have a red mask that Matt could put on later on. But so far, unless somebody can tell me in the comments, I think that's about it. You have these different color masks so they can tell each other apart. But we quickly find out that there's an ulterior motive with a couple of the robbers, that they are attempting to steal a diamond from the vault It's not just a simple smash and grab to get money, but they're working for Luca, who pops up later in episode 6 with Kingpin, presumably a tracksuit mafia guy, and he is trying to put pressure on now Mayor Fisk that he's out of the game, he's too old, that what he's doing is not going to work, and they're not going to pay him anything. They're not going to pay him off, and he's not in his Kingpin role. So whatever's going on there, this diamond, this yellow diamond, played a big role in it. Now, whether it was evidence, whether it was leverage for something, or whether it's just a big payday, remains to be seen. But I think if not the diamond, the power dynamic and we need to get this for Luca, these guys making moves, that there are things going on, and Matt is always just nearby to it. He's always real close to what's going on. But I think getting that undercurrent in this episode, along with the opportunity for Matt to do something heroic in a way that was not vengeance related. It had nothing to do with anybody he knew. It had nothing to do with, as far as he knew, with Kingpin, with anything that would push him towards what he might consider an ulterior motive. And so he gets an opportunity to save lives, to protect people, to use his power in a way that benefits other people. And so having that moment where Matt actually got to see through his own eyes that being Daredevil does have its benefits, and that he can do that in a way that is not anger motivated, vengeance motivated, but when there's an opportunity to do something good outside of the justice system here. It's not he has to be a lawyer first and then be Daredevil if the law doesn't work, which I think is always going to be vengeance related. It's always going to be angry. It's always going to be something that pushes him to say, well, they couldn't get it done, so I'll get it done. And that's where he is going to be conflicted. This is an opportunity for him as Matt to be in a situation and decide as Daredevil to do something with his ability that helped other people. And so I think in terms of a standalone episode, something like that needed to happen, especially in light of what happened with Foggy early on and the choices that Matt made. Something like that needed to happen to push him to put on the costume. And obviously we see in episode 6 when Hector's niece comes to him and says, I need help. I'm just a lawyer, I can't do this, so on and so forth. That he, when he finally decides, I can go and help this girl out, has nothing to do with Kingpin, has nothing to do with his, and it shouldn't have anything to do with the promise or the agreement that he made with Fisk, that he wasn't going to go back to his vigilante ways. I think for Matt, him saying just F it, that this has nothing to do with that. It's about saving this person. It's about using my ability to help other people in a way that he can reconcile, rather than I'm doing this to keep some guy that I don't like in check. And so that whole storyline through 5 and 6, I think, was very necessary to show. I think some people aren't going to like the episode because it, especially episode 5, because it pulled away from, they introduced Muse in episode 4 and then have this episode 5 and then Muse doesn't come back till episode 6. I actually really like the draw out of it, because once you get to episode 6 and you realize and you find out that Muse has not just been painting paintings for the little bit of time that we've seen, but since Daredevil has hung up his cowl, Muse has been out here potentially killing 60 different people. I mean, the different murals that have been around, people have seen them. They've been protected by this blood epoxy mixture that Muse has mixed up. And not only is he making political statements, but he's also tipping his hand and doing it in a way that is very violent and gruesome. But he's been doing it for quite some time. And not only has Fisk not been able to do anything about it because these guys are out there and there's vigilantes that aren't doing anything about this, but also Fisk isn't doing anything, and he treats Muse, because Muse is punching back at him politically through these paintings. He's punching back at Muse by starting this vigilante task force. Matt being able to see this and realize that I haven't done anything I locked up my cowl, I locked away that persona, and this guy has been able to grow unchecked. All of these things are going on. Him realizing his place in the world and realizing that these two sides of me are beneficial in ways that can coexist, and is something that I think is a storyline that's going to play out. And in my prediction video, I pointed to I had kind of a freebie, like what's going to be the catalyst for pushing this thing along. I did not have Hector Ayala's niece being the one, in addition to Muse. I don't think Muse was the reason that Daredevil goes out and is looking for a fight. I think it's because it was Hector's daughter that he goes out. And so that being the catalyst for Matt rather than Muse. But this serial killer and this threat that's out there is something that's going to push both of these guys, Matt and Fisk, to their breaking points. And the fight scenes throughout both of these episodes were really great. I loved the heightened sense of music and score in all of episode 5, right up until the time that Matt starts to fight this guy in the stairwell, and then it's dead quiet. That you get to hear the fight scene. And this is, of all the things that Matt's senses take in, being able to, as he starts to fight, that is his sole focus. The music and the dropping the score out, I thought was a really cool element and a way to show that. Right down to the little elements of Daredevil's ability where he hears the gun squeaking on the stairwell about to fall, and he's able to fight and roll over and do those kind of things. I love, and it was showcased again in the fight scene with Muse in episode 6, a little more of the acrobatic style of Daredevil. And I talked about this in episode 1 to kind of go against some of the haters that were saying they didn't like the CG aspects of Daredevil. But I like that Disney and Marvel have thrown that in there. And they did some of it with the She-Hulk series, but people didn't like him in that one for the same reasons. I like some of it because his senses not only allow him to hear things and smell things and that kind of thing better, gives him a different type of vision, but it also affects his movement and his balance and all, and which helps him be a better fighter. And the fact that he's been fighting for years only highlights the fact that he's a lot more stronger and a lot more skilled now than he used to be. And so being able to showcase those things I thought was really great. The fight scene with Muse and the violence of it, the grittiness of it, to where and even at one point when Daredevil incapacitates Muse, his anger and his frustration, Muse's anger and frustration, is not aimed towards Matt or Daredevil. It is aimed towards, you're not going to take my kill away from me. And instead of picking up the knife to go after Daredevil, he picks up the knife to try to kill Hector's niece. And so, and in that regard, Matt being angry, he has this guttural yell where he's finally let the devil out, right? But this release, and not aimed towards Fisk and not aimed towards anything but saving this girl's life and fighting evil. And this guy is super duper evil. And so there's nothing there that, oh, you're beating a defenseless man, you're doing this, you're doing that. This is evil that has gone unchecked for too long, and Matt is finally confronting it. And so you get to see that in connection, overlapped with Fisk fighting Adam. And you kind of discover, and I hope you discovered, if you didn't, I'm going to point it out to you. I hope you discovered that Fisk's bloody knuckles throughout the series thus far have been because he routinely goes down there and gives Adam the opportunity to escape, only to fight him again and throw him back in the cell. And the first time that you see Fisk smile in a way that actually seems like satisfaction is after he has defeated Adam and thrown him back in the cell, and he sits down on the bench in the cell next to him, and just this smirk, this look of contentment comes over him that is in complete contrast to the smile that he forces when he tells the city after he's elected mayor, I love this city, and he smiles. He has to force this smile. You see him content for the first time. I think Fisk going down into the cellar to give Adam a chance to escape is this opportunity over and over for Fisk to confront the person who robbed him of his masculinity. And this is how he takes back his masculinity, by beating down the physical representation of the thing that stole his power from him. And so over and over and over again, this is how he keeps his power. But it's also how he's keeping this at bay by torturing this man. And it would be very easy to look at Fisk and Matt as they're fighting back and forth, and to view Matt as similar to Fisk in this scene. I think it's much more apt to look at Fisk and Muse as two sides of the same coin as well, just as much as Matt and Fisk and Daredevil and Kingpin are two sides of the same coin as well. But they're both down in cellars. One's in the subway, one's in a basement. But Muse is torturing somebody, Fisk is torturing somebody, and then someone comes to try to break them out of that. Matt fighting with Muse is more or less Fisk fighting with himself, fighting with this Kingpin persona, because you see him dressed as the mayor, but fighting and doing things the way Kingpin would do it. Different motivations, different reasons, trying to regain a part of themselves that they've lost. Fisk doing it for angry reasons, mean reasons, although you could argue that he's torturing somebody and beating up Adam so he doesn't have to be Kingpin in the daylight. Either way, still very twisted and wrong, as opposed to Matt, who is trying his best to fight for justice and fight to save people and those kind of things. And Matt is the one that thinks he's just like Kingpin. The back and forth and editing those scenes together was very, very cool, and a really awesome use of the cinematography to get across the point that these men are wrestling with their inner demons. I love the Catholic prayer. I love the different elements that were woven throughout it as Matt is praying, and Heather catches him praying in the morning, and he's got Foggy's the pamphlet from Foggy's funeral, almost as though Matt, as a devout Catholic, is praying to Foggy as his saint. I thought was a very interesting turn. The interaction between Luca and Kingpin, the interactions between Fisk and Vanessa, all of the different elements that are kind of falling into place. And I think 7, 8, 9, I think that Muse is going to up the ante. He's going to start moving faster. This vigilante task force is going to start moving in on Matt. And lo and behold, Matt is now Daredevil again. White Tiger's nowhere to be seen. Maybe Hector's daughter flirts with taking up that mantle, but I think we're going to get more Punisher. I think we're going to get more Daredevil sooner rather than later, and I think Bullseye is going to make another appearance leading into, if not at the end of season 1, leading into season 2. We got a few characters in there to remind us that we're in the MCU, not just Yusuf Khan, but Jack Duquesne, who is a character that was closely tied to Kingpin back from the Hawkeye series as swordsman. He's out there as a vigilante fighting people as well, and all those different elements that were kind of thrown in there. I thought all of that stuff was really great. Some other characters that were thrown in there that have some comic ties. Cole North was a police officer who is part of the vigilante task force. You can go down that rabbit hole on your own. I really love both of these episodes. I can understand how some people might not like a standalone episode 5, but I thought for pulling the story forward, I thought it went really well. I thought they were going to leave Matt out of the Daredevil costume at least another episode or 2 longer, but compared to Netflix seasons 1, 2, and 3, I am glad they put him in it sooner, and they said, you know what, he can't stay away from it. This is who he is. But because he's done that, there's repercussions to that as well. And is he the one that let Fisk off the hook and allows him to become everything that Matt hopes he doesn't again? Curious your thoughts on all of these things. Add them to the comments. Like, subscribe, hit the button, do the things. And always check out the rest of our content. We got a whole lot of things you can sink your teeth into. And as always, guys, when the next one drops, we'll catch you right back here. Later.